The fund can go online to www.gnof.org. NOLA, pay it forward.
iHeartRadio. All your favorite music. All your favorite stations. All free. Need a break from the world? Open the iHeartRadio app. Pick a song, a playlist, an artist, or even a podcast, and immerse yourself in your own personal getaway space. Sometimes you just need to tune out the world. So tune in to iHeartRadio. Download or open the free iHeartRadio app today.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline.
Guy.
Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life.
Before you get on air,
the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This week on Big Easy Deals, get a family 4-pack.
Oh, crap. Derry's here. I mean, oh, hey, good. Derry's here.
Don't miss the Watoto Walk, the Playful Monkeys, or the Mysterious White Alligators. Go to Fox Sports, AM1280.com.
Try not to breathe heavy into the mic.
Everywhere.
About to say, man.
I'm going to go get you an oxygen.
It's like you ran up the stairs instead of went up an elevator.
Teacher, the neighbor, the coffee guy.
By the way, Jim, did you bring your Mixler equipment?
I'm talking about listening to radio.
Radio is huge.
And radio ads like this connect with 90%
We're on
of
YouTube.
Americans a week. That's bigger than TV.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
YouTube. Bleep, 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 bleep.
Sorry, it's all good.
More boomers, more Gen Xers, even more millennials.
I'm used to my own radio
So get
show.
to iHeartMedia.com for the one place
also-
everyone is.
yes.
AM, FM radio.
I'll do what I want.
Come on, everyone's
Do what
doing
I want.
Stay on target.
I'm going back in the hell, so no one gets any ideas. But I will be back. If y'all need something, I'm gonna be listening anyway. So.
Dunc and Holder on a Monday, October 2nd. Already October. Be careful out there. A little rainy, as I can see through our studio and the 32nd floor of Canal Place at our NOLA.com Times Picayune Studios. And Jim, I gave our listeners the choice. So Jim Derry, of course, still here since Jeff. I'm assuming he's on a plane right now because I texted him earlier to see, hey, what's your availability? And I got no response. So I assume he's on a plane.
Sleeping somewhere.
Yeah, on a plane, hopefully for him. But I gave the listeners a choice. Do they want to be happy first, or do they want to be sad first? And
sad.
Overwhelmingly, they want to be happy. So our number one will be Saints heavy, primarily focused on the 20-0 shutout of Smokin' Jay Cutler and the Miami Dolphins. And let me tell you, ugly game, got a little prettier in the second half, but if you're a Saints fan right now and you're still kind of questioning if you should get on board with this team, I'm going to give you some reasons why I feel like don't downplay the last two wins. Don't do it, because specifically on defense, because people are saying, oh, wow, they're playing this well on defense, yada, yada, yada. The old Saints, their defense would allow garbage teams to run all over them. So what can I be? How else can I spin this? I can't spin this into some negative.
2 weeks ago, you were ready to be like, this team's going 0-16. You didn't say that, but you sounded like it.
Did you see how bad they played the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I watched.
Do you see how well this team played the last 2 weeks? So you can change your tune. I don't have to be just. I don't care if they're 14-2. I'm gonna be negative. No, there are reasons to say, and I wrote a column leading up to the game, that if you win this Miami game, there is a roadmap. With the way the schedule comes out, there's a roadmap to relevancy again. And beating Miami, beating them, even though it was ugly, you still beat them convincingly. And that's another step of positivity. And just how crazy is the NFL? 1 week Carolina looks terrible against the Saints, and they come out and go to New England and win there. And the transitive property doesn't exist anymore in the NFL because every team, it seems like, you don't know what you're getting each week.
I'm just going to say, and this, I'm just saying it's a pure fact, nothing else. Read into it what you will. But the New York Jets are also 2-2.
Yes, they are also 2-2. Yes, the Rams are 3-1. Buffalo is 3-1. These are all teams the Saints actually have to play.
Buffalo should be 3-1. Buffalo. I said this when we made our picks the other day, and I don't want to go off on Buffalo because no one cares. But the Buffalo Bills are a very good football team, and I couldn't understand why no one was giving them any respect before Sunday.
Because Tyrod Taylor's your quarterback, and he's proven nothing in this league. That's
their
why.
defense is giving up, what, 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns in however many weeks.
And how funny is it that
they're really, really good.
How funny is it that Stephon Gilmore is not playing well for New England, and it's like Buffalo got one over on the Patriots for once in their existence. But yeah, we on purpose leave the show wide open on a Monday. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Like I said, hour one, we're going to focus on the Saints. You'll hear from Drew Brees, his thoughts after the game. And then hour two can be Spitfire and Venom hour two. We'll talk LSU. We will hear what Ed Orgeron had to say after one of the more laughable performances I've seen in the history of LSU football. And that's saying something. You go down 24-21 against Troy. And
that's pathetic.
I can't imagine life for Ed Orgeron as the LSU football coach is real pleasant. And now you're on the way to going into SEC play once again against Florida. And look, I had buddies I was watching the game with on Sunday, the Saints game I'm talking, and they kept saying, look, LSU might be 0-3 against the state of Alabama this year. You ever thought you'd be hearing that? No.
No, I would not. And, I'm glad I had to call a game Saturday night, and I didn't get to see one play, and I made sure I didn't watch any lowlights because there wasn't anything worth watching. I mean, you lose to Troy, and it's funny how it's 24-7, and they start making this furious comeback.
Like they've done against Troy in the past.
Well, why don't you just play like that the whole game? But how do you have a coach who doesn't understand who's going to get the ball in the first play?
That is a dilemma we will dive into when we get into the second hour. But look, Saints, I'm telling you, don't put down the play of the defense because of the opponent.
You can't.
You can't.
Shut out any NFL opponent, and even Smoking Jay Cutler. I was going to call him Smoking Joe Cutler.
Same guy, whatever.
Same dude.
Who cares?
And I can't wait till we get in and talk about this guy because as soon as Crowley picked off that ball in the corner and end zone, he was done.
He went nuts on the sideline.
He was done.
He lost his mind on the sideline.
I guess I'll go ride the bike.
Or he'll just stand there with the blank stare on his face. But
aren't you happy? I mean, look, we all know if for the older Saints fans that can remember the days before Drew Brees, I can only imagine that's what it feels like to be a Dolphins fan about now.
Absolutely.
Like the Billy Joe days.
The old poor Billy Joes, plural.
Hey, they were nice guys.
Yes.
At least they were nice guys.
Poor guys.
They didn't win, but they were nice guys.
Jay Cutler's
just I can't say. Dave told me I can't say certain words.
I'll just say he's just a goob.
Okay, goob's good.
Goob. He's just a goob. I don't know how anyone could ever get on board with that guy and lead your team. And I think Adam Gase before the game was saying how bad the offense was, and I'm sure he's leaving that game thinking, what on planet Earth is going on? Yes, but he can't help it that his starting quarterback's in street clothes on the sideline, and you're going with old Smoking Jay.
Well, he's the one that decided to bring in this guy for $10 million instead of another guy who fans love to hate in the NFL, who would have cost them about 1/5 of that and been a lot better quarterback.
Maybe Dolphins fans will just blame Joe Vitt for Jay Cutler too. Can they just turn on Joe Vitt like Saints fans turned on Joe Vitt? I think they can do that.
Yeah, but I think the last shutout the Saints ever had wasn't Joe Vitt the coach.
He was back on the sideline, but part of that year he wasn't. But yes, he was the last Saints head coach to pitch a shutout. So the Joe Vitt, Steve Spagnuolo era of defense.
41-0.
And it's amazing that that's the last shutout because it's the worst defense in NFL history that actually pitched a shutout.
Somebody told me this yesterday, and I haven't done any research, so I'm not presenting it as fact because I don't know that it's true. But is it true that that was Sean Payton's first pitched shutout?
I'd have to look it up. It sounds right. I don't think they've ever shut out any other teams. Yeah, and because Sean Payton, of course, wasn't around for the 2012 shutout.
2006.
Well, that just goes to show you the defense hasn't been the best thing in the world. But look at the defense now, and I'll tell you what. The fact that they were able to pivot because Alex Anzalone got hurt. He played 3 snaps and got hurt, and then Craig Robertson comes in and plays 90% of the snaps, and that's not what you were anticipating. They got it done. Ken Crawley got it done. Cam Jordan got it done.
Yeah,
all these guys
got it done. There's no question. I mean, and A.J. Klein played a really good first half. Not that he played a bad second half, but in the first half he was just really dominating, I thought. And all of them, special teams, everybody, they were all over the field. Everybody did their job.
Absolutely. So 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. We'll be talking Saints the first hour, LSU the second hour. We'll also hear from Drew Brees, but we'll kind of go through tidbit by tidbit what we saw in yesterday's game. And oh my gosh, can we not have any more flags? I feel like maybe the NFL overcompensated because so many people said they were disrespecting the flag that they made sure to throw their own flag 55,000 times.
You will salute the yellow hanky.
Unbelievable. That was absurd.
He was using his guns yesterday.
Look, dude, the game's not about you, okay? Some of those calls were legit, some of them weren't, but it's...
Hey, man, when you're 65 and you got arms like that, I don't blame him for wanting to show him off on national TV as much as he possibly can.
So you're just blaming him for being an egomaniac and muscle man wants to show off.
I don't know Mr. Hockley, so I can't say, but that's what it looked like.
It was absurd. So we will... and the headset drama, that wasn't working. Sean Payton, of course, rightfully so, was livid. Hey, I even had to give Chase Daniel a shout out in my grades.
Good for him for running out.
He did a great job in getting the plays in.
I don't care what you say. I'm running out onto the field to tell Drew Brees what the play is.
At least when you're in that situation, I'm pretty sure Sean Payton felt like Drew Brees could probably get it done. You think Adam Gase had all kinds of confidence in smoking Jay to get that done? No headset's not going to get it done.
Why don't they just hand off the ball to Jay Ajayi? I don't know.
He was angry in the second drive. He lost his mind, too.
He was ticked off.
I'd be ticked off in that situation as well. So why don't we take a break right here on the show? Like I said, open call lines throughout the show. And it's amazing. The last few weeks, the call lines were fired up. Now you're 2-2. Everyone's just sitting back, living the dream. Saints are back in it, so nothing to complain about. Don't worry, I'm sure hour 2 people will be.
Oh, they're still sleeping from yesterday.
Maybe so.
They had to get up early on a Sunday.
But yeah, we'll hear from Drew Brees coming up this hour, and we will go through Saints Dolphins and take a look at the landscape of the NFL. Because look, before this weekend, I was touting that Atlanta might be the best team in football, and they're within shouting distance of the Saints now. So Jim, I knew you were going to ask me about that. Of course you were.
That's why you jumped the gun.
Exactly. I might as well cut it off at the pass. But no, we'll go through the NFL landscape. But look, Saints 20, Dolphins 0. Another good win away from the Dome, and now they're heading back home on a bye week. And they got some key injuries, but they probably will get at least one guy back, which will help soothe one of those injuries. So come on back. We'll talk about it. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. Jim Darien for the Dunc. I'm the holder.
The reality about LSU is we saw an incredibly ill-prepared football team.
Afternoons.
He tried to catch me.
That falls on the coach.
Point and a half.
I saw that.
I told you.
When I got home, I didn't get home till late last night. I'm like, well, let's say they make it 100, because I've been saying, it's about 99.9%. Yeah, let's make it 100%.
I told you.
One more week and the holder was going down.
I got caught. There's no doubt. One more week, I got caught.
Benefit the Autism Society and Down Syndrome Association. Go to asgno.org.
I don't know what's easier, if you want to just PayPal it to me or what.
I keep hitting the wrong
well,
button.
I got to get
I was trying to tell you we had a caller.
Okay.
We got Two callers, Bert in Metairie and Blake in New Orleans.
Cool.
A message from Sports
Have I
1280
been staying on
Communities,
target,
helping
Dave?
to make a difference in New Orleans.
Yeah, dude.
You think
You got me there?
that show with the
Bert
girl
and
the
Metairie
dragons
and
the
who
game-
else?
Blake in New Orleans.
Got it. Okay.
More people
I was hitting the wrong button.
show. It's true. Radio reaches 93% of Americans each week. That's more than
I
TV,
thought the
Facebook,
time
and
of possession was
Google. Put
more
that in your
lopsided than
dragon
that.
and smoke it. Radio reaches
Yeah.
more adults, teens, and even millennials.
Seemed
So
like
if
they
you're
had
a
the ball the
marketer,
whole-
get the
whole
most
day.
out of your marketing dollar. Talk to the folks who dethrone TV. Go to iHeartMedia.com for the one place you can reach everybody. AM, FM
Yeah,
radio.
just
From
whenever.
baking to dinners with friends, why do the best things in life
Shoot to me
create so
whenever you
many dirty dishes?
Yeah, I gotta
Forget
get
the mess.
Dunc's money
Finish Quantum
and
gives you an
Frank's.
unbeatable
And I still have to
clean.
figure out who
And
gets
now,
how much
Finish
everybody
Quantum
gets.
also
I'll do
Oh,
gives you
yeah, that's right.
25%
Not
more
in-
loads per
because
pack than Cascade
weekly
Platinum.
wings
So
and all
bring
that.
on more baked on lasagna. Get stuck into more sticky cherry pie. And say yes to more dried on brownie mix. Finish Quantum tackles them all. Pick it up in store today.
gum on
Comparison
here.
made to Cascade Platinum retail pack.
Gum right.
Come on.
I swear to God, right here. Gum. I keep
that?
sticking my hand on it. And it's bothering me.
Who would do that?
It was there last week, and I keep. Cause I just hold on.
But
Like,
his failures
Never mind,
only
see.
led him to the next idea.
Duncan doing it.
Picture Times Square.
Probably
Gum
been
onto
there.
the
Probably been
chair.
there for
Your
one knows how
home
long.
black. Picture no electric light.
You know who I'm gonna just blame? Lions. I bet you. A million years ago.
Did it.
Optimism.
A million years ago.
Is he still on over
Life
there?
at values.com.
He's out.
It
Just-
takes a
they
lot
just
to get
ask 'em?
excited about a bag, but most bags
Something
can't
like that.
save you
Oh, well, we
20%
can't talk about
on
it
auto
right now. We'll
parts.
talk about it
That's
at noon.
20%
Yeah.
off head
Sorry,
lamps,
YouTubers, you don't
20%
get the
off oil
scoop.
filters,
Media
20% off virtually
scoopage.
anything you can fit inside the
All right, we have the Cajun goat as well.
Okay.
He's back.
There's a bag
The
that
goat
is
is
in
back.
Got me?
Yep, got
Quality
it.
parts, helpful people. That's Napa No.
All right, coming back.
Okay.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Minimum 3 items. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 10/31/17.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. If you want to get angry, call in hour number 2, because it's happy, happy, joy, joy in hour number 1, talking Saints, Dolphins.
I'll
So
bring it down later.
I think we could both bring it down later.
No, by the end of
got a case of the moon.
there's no doubt about that.
Hey, at least your voice is back. I heard you had no
Barely.
voice broadcasting the
It was
games
bad.
all weekend long.
Yesterday, last night, I thought I was gonna have to call you this morning. I was literally had no voice last night.
I'm proud of you. Good job. Just drink some herbal tea as we go to the phone lines here. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Let's start off with Bert in Metairie. Bert, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got? Bert, you're there.
Hey, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. To Larry's point on over-analyzing the defense
That's not
breakdown against opponents, I just want to say you get worried if they don't take advantage of those kinds of matchups. And I think the Saints these last 2 weeks have shown they can take advantage of matchups that they're supposed to excel at.
You falling for this?
I'll listen to your response offline.
Are you falling for this?
How
I'm not
about-
falling for Bert T.O.P.
How about Herbert?
Herbert.
Oh, Herbert
falling for
T.O.P.
that?
Look at this. I mean,
he's listening. He turned off. He hung up his phone, and he's listening so he can go fix his hair.
Exactly.
While he listens to their answer.
old Herbert T.O.P. I don't even know what he said. I was
Me
just shaking
neither.
my
I
head the
looked at
whole
it.
time.
Like, yeah,
Herbert.
long time. First, he had me at long time listener for what, 3 months?
Long time, first time. Old Herbert T.O.P. Well, hey. He just wanted more airtime. He loved his appearance on Wednesday. He just
Poor
wanted
Herbie.
more airtime. But I honestly have no idea what he
Me
said.
neither.
So let's go. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Blake in New Orleans. Blake, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got, Blake?
Yeah, a couple of questions. The first couple of weeks, Crowley was on the bench. And right now, I think Muhammad, he was their best pass rushing preseason. I don't think this guy has got one snap in regular season.
He was inactive yesterday.
And-
Yeah, you're right. And I think he's been inactive every game.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was the best pass rushing preseason. You could at least give him a look. And Craig Robinson was another one. I think Anzalone just didn't get smoked the whole season. So I think that was a blessing in disguise to get Craig Robertson in there.
All right, Blake. Hey, appreciate the call. We'll go through those tidbits one by one. Ken Crawley, it sounded like on the Fox broadcast, they made it out like Ken Crawley was having basically in the doghouse, had some disciplinary issues. I don't know, but that was the way it came across on the broadcast. And obviously, when they put Crawley in, it's been a big jump.
Whole world of difference.
A big jump. Look, he's starting over P.J. Williams right now. When they had three defensive backs.
Defensive back.
I don't know if he's the best Saints defensive
right now.
back.
He's playing like he is.
Well, he's got the interception, of course, which is huge, and had several pass breakups and tackling. It's all there for him, and we were seeing it so much in training camp, and I think people, rightfully so, were wondering where on earth is this guy. And you team him up.
Bench.
Yeah, you team him up, and now Marshawn Lattimore. Look, both of those guys, if you go,
Lattimore played well.
Yeah, if you look
he didn't
at
get
those,
his name called a lot, but he played well.
You look at those two guys, and if you trust Pro Football Focus, they had those two cornerbacks. I think within the top 5 corners graded out this week in the NFL, and that's you keep hearing their names receiving high marks from PFF. Obviously, a good thing for those two guys. But yeah, Ken Crawley has been a world of difference.
Yeah, and to his point about Craig Robertson, who he played a really good game, but I don't necessarily think that Anzalone is
Cajun goat
got burned so much. I think he's still learning the game a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think Anzalone's been getting smoked every week. I don't buy that either. And so Craig Robertson, there's a reason why he's a special teams guy. And then you look at it where he's mentioned Muhammad, inactive each week, and he says, look, he's the best pass rusher in preseason, but he's going against fourth-string guys.
Right.
I mean, there's a difference there.
Preseason I know people got all fired up about preseason, but it means zero.
Just be happy he made the roster because he had to fight to make the roster. Let's get the phone lines again. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Cajun Goat, you're up next. Thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got, Cajun Goat?
I tell you what, I got to say, since Ken Crawley has been back, that's been a difference in the secondary. And I think the safety play is getting a little bit better. Maybe they're working on it a little bit more. But you see those guys around the ball a lot more than what you've seen them in the first 2 games. And I think that's what makes the difference. I think the back end's finally come out. We always say the pass rush, or this or that. But if they can go 1, 2, 3 and throw the ball, you're not going to get a pass rush. Nobody gets back there in 3 seconds. So I think the coverage is getting a little bit better. I think that's why the defense is playing better. And hey guys, let's look at it this way too. Atlanta is only 2 games, 2 3-second games away from being 1-3. They could be 1-3 because they should have lost to the Bears and they should have lost to the Lions. So I think the season's wide open, man. I'm glad to see they're getting it together, and you got to kind of be happy because these are all young players. It can only get better.
Hey, Cajun Go, appreciate the call. And look, they played their way back into the conversation, and it's not like they backed into it and won last-second games. No, they played their way back into actually feeling like they got a shot at this thing, at least the division.
The magic carpet is flying high.
What can you do?
They're going to go 11-5 and win the division.
Yeah, never said
I'm not saying you.
But Buffalo isn't this cakewalk game. The Jets is now not this cakewalk game. The Rams is not this cakewalk game. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle the schedule.
Let's wait and see how they play Detroit and Green Bay.
That's a crucial stretch. I agree. They need to go 1-1 in that stretch. Let's go to Brother in Metairie before we got to take a break here on Dunc and Holder. What's up, brother?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
You get your own theme music. Look at you.
Got my music, baby. Got my music. I said before the season, I told you and Jeff, 2-2 was the key, my man. Get the 2-2, and then we go from there. But, Larry, do you know about the injuries? Do we have any injury update on Zach Street?
No, we don't, outside of the knee. And, look, brother, I'm with you as far as they needed to get 2-2 through this stretch. I think anyone who is a rational Saints fan understood that you need to be 2-2 to get through this stretch. And no, Zach Street left with a knee injury. I'm just glad he was able to get up off the ground.
Man, he looked like he was writhing in pain when he got kind of clipped from the side there. And Drew Brees, he must have screamed loudly because Drew Brees immediately turned around and put his hand on his back. You could tell something was going on there, so we hope he's okay.
Yeah, who knows how long he'll be out. Look, you always have the cliche, the bye week. Lucky it is when it is, and it's also fortunate that Teron Armstead, I would assume he would be back for week 6, and then you leave Ramczyk on the right side and put Teron Armstead on the left side, and you're still feeling pretty good about it. Yeah, one more phone call before we hit break here. Let's go to Cordell in Minnesota. Cordell, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder, my man. How are you?
I'm doing good today, man. With my Saints winning like that, man, I was excited and still excited, still hungover from that. But listen, this is my question. I know you guys were talking about the defensive backs a little bit ago. Just wondering how Delvin Brown's going to fit in the rotation when he comes back with Crawley balling out like he is. And Marshall, I think we hit on Lattimore. I mean, I really love that kid, man. He plays really good, man.
Hey, Cordell.
And then PJ Williams.
Right, yeah. Look, he came back, and of course he jump started the whole thing with the pick last week. Hey, Cordell, appreciate the phone call. I think that is an interesting dilemma, and it's a good dilemma. You mean you actually got cornerbacks you're feeling good about, and then if Delvin Breaux can come back and contribute, you could be real creative in what you do on defense. So I think that's look. The tide is turning. They're playing well.
I think a lot of credit needs to be given to Dennis Allen for staying the course and kind of, and it's only, again, let's don't get too fired up. They're 2-2. The first quarter's over. We got a long way to go to see. We got a big stretch coming up here after the bye week, but Dennis Allen has kind of held everything together, and he looks like a man that is in control over there, and you could just tell that it's not the same friction / even when they had their bad times the first 2 games, you never really saw Peyton and Allen looking like they had any friction. So I really like what I see there, and got to give the man credit.
Peter King from MMQB named Dennis Allen as Coach of the Week in his Monday morning.
Hey, why not?
Column. Absolutely, pitch a shutout, and
what a fantastic game plan! And for the second week in a row, after the coaching staff looked lost in the first 2 games, I thought the game plan was 100% outstanding. Except maybe a little bit on offense. They didn't quite get enough of the running game to figure it out, but I'd give the offense a B and the defense as close to an A+ as they can get.
There you go. Come on back. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. When we come back, we'll hear from Drew Brees, what he had to say about the win, and we'll get your phone calls. LSU Talk, hour number 2. So if you're in a bad mood, jump on the show, and if you're in a good mood,
maybe you gotta wait till 11:30.
Call in and talk some Saints here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. Jim Darien for Jeff Dunc, and I'm Larry Holder. We're all Dunc and Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
We'll be in and out of showers as we
You don't
go
know
through your day
Dunk's
on
gonna be
Monday.
back tomorrow.
We got a Martin in Dallas.
Okay.
Get into plenty of
I mean, you don't need to do
moisture.
the show if you don't want to.
We
No, I don't mind doing it.
see Showers on and off, not a lot of lightning.
I don't know.
but
I haven't
this
heard
is
from
going
Jeff.
We don't need him. Get him out of there, man.
into the
Dave can't
evening.
wait for Dunk to
Wait,
come
what are we
back.
talking about?
Dave can't wait for Dunk to come back.
Clearing out.
Stay on point.
Temperature-wise, look for low to mid 80s for
Stay on target. Stay on target.
The Rick's Report.
There he goes again. Running
All right,
away.
we'll do the caller, and then we'll play the Brees sound.
Drew Brees.
Do I need for retirement?
We're not even talking about national anthems.
I know.
Please don't. I got a call from JT
It's a Christmas
this morning.
miracle.
I'll tell you at
We
noon.
want to find out how much.
Oh, really?
When you get called and chastised by JT, you feel like a little kid in the corner. Yes, sir. No, sir.
How much?
He didn't yell at me. He doesn't yell, period. But he did
mortgage.
have a problem with something that we did this week.
Or
that we did, like you and me.
NOLA.com.
You messing with what's his name?
No, I didn't do anything. It's something we wrote in the caption that our photographer wrote in the caption that he didn't like.
WRNO.
Boy,
Find me at
nitpicking, huh?
GregoryRicks.com.
He doesn't usually, so he must have really got upset about it. He doesn't complain about anything.
Broadcast radio reaches more people in America
First
than
time
TV.
he's ever complained to me about anything.
AM/FM radio.
That's amazing.
The radio that's free in your car, your kitchen, your office.
All right, 1 minute.
Broadcast radio reaches more adults, teens, and millennials. More of everyone. More shoppers. Broadcast radio reaches 93% of Americans every week.
26
That's
on
bigger
YouTube.
than TV,
Not a bad
Facebook,
crowd.
and Google. If you're a marketer who
27 on
needs to reach new
YouTube.
fans, visit
Even better
iHeartMedia.com for
If
the
I
one
curse
place
on accident,
everyone is listening.
It's Monday and I'm
Want a
really
fresh fall
tired. I
look?
apologize.
Just don't do it
Macy's during
on the
Clinic
air.
Gift time. Your free 7-piece gift
There's no
includes
7-second
a gorgeous
delay
eye
on
and cheek
YouTube,
palette
is
in your
there?
choice
No.
of color collections. Plus,
No
Chubby
beat
Stick
button.
for lips, our famous yellow moisturizer, a moisture surge hydrator, and fan favorite mascara. Finish it all
Got like
off with
8
a
hours of
spritz of
sleep in
Clinique
3
Happy.
days.
It's everything you
Eesh.
need for fall, free, with your Clinique purchase of $28 or more. One to a client, please, while supplies last. Only during Clinique
more
Gift time at
Saturday
Macy's,
games.
from September 27th to October 16th.
Supersonic.
New Orleans sports talk about your favorite teams. Sports 1280.
Of course, I put some ice in my mouth right when the rejoin music comes in. I'm like trying to melt it as quickly as I can.
Is Dave going back to his club days? He's clubbing today.
I like
Maybe.
it.
You got a problem with it?
No,
Gary?
absolutely not. I'm dancing on the set here.
Okay.
You're not really dancing. Herbert and Metairie would be dancing.
Bert. No, it's Bert.
Bert and Metairie. Old Bert Tiope.
He and his brother
boy.
Ernie.
There we go. Let's hit the
Still
phone
don't know what
lines.
he asked, though.
Let's hit the phone lines before we hear from some Drew Brees. Let's go to Martin in Dallas. Martin, thanks for calling Duncan Holder on a victory Monday, I guess. Call it that. Hey, victory
Shutout
Monday for the Saints.
Shutout Monday.
Yep. So what you got?
Hello?
Yeah, you're there. Go ahead.
Hey, I know you guys can't. I know part of the reason is the Saints is, they consider them irrelevant. But I woke up this morning. I was watching, NFL morning NFL with these people on there, and I switched it. Yeah, I watched this for over 2 hours, and I didn't see nothing about the Saints. It's almost like the Saints doesn't exist. Like I was watching, and it's like the Saints in the NFL, and I understand that the Saints are battling their way back into relevancy. But still in all, I mean, the Jets was on there a couple of times, cycled back through a couple of times. Of course, the Cowboys went like 3 times in the cycle.
Well, look at the Chiefs.
We're going to fight out. The Saints, they fight their way back in, and then they're going to be all the Saints and this, and what team you think got a chance. But it's just ridiculous. And you guys can talk about it, but I think I know the reason, but you guys can talk about it.
Hi, Martin. Appreciate the phone call.
Look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs were on the first game because they were playing at New England. They're on Monday night tonight. They're on Sunday night next week. It's about who these networks project to be good teams, and a team can be 3-1 or whatever, and they're not going to talk about them much if they don't think they're very good. And so the Saints have to work their way back into that, and they've earned they've earned all of this by going 7-9 3 straight years, and I don't think 2-2 is going to get them on anyone's radar. And I have the schedule up, and if you look at the schedule, they have one more primetime game the rest of the season, and that's really weird. We've got accustomed to the Saints playing 4 or 5 primetime games a year, and they only play 2 this year, and they have one left. It's at Atlanta on December 7th, and I think that's a Thursday night game. So,
and everybody gets a
Thursday night game. So in essence. And the only reason why they even wanted the Saints on Monday night in Week 1 is because AP was going back to Minnesota. So, in the old days, and I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago and then before, you got if you didn't go at least 7-9 or 8-8 and weren't one of those premier teams, you didn't get on at all. At least now they get everyone on here and there. So, I mean, the Saints have to earn this back. And, Martin, I feel your pain. You're watching these shows, and the Saints aren't on. But, don't get too offended by it. If the Saints can get themselves and make themselves relevant again, they'll be on plenty.
There's a reason why you still have the flex scheduling. Like, if they get hot and say the Rams are hot or Carolina's hot later on in the season, they can flex the games. But yeah, look. You bring up the Jets, because they're New York. I mean, they're the biggest media market in the world, and that's why they get talked about. And the Saints at 2-2 are not as big of a story as the Jets that are 2-2 when everyone thought the Jets were a big pile of nonsense.
No, and if you look at the Rams while they were in St. Louis, when were they on prime time? Hardly ever. It was a Thursday night game, maybe. So, smaller market teams, unless they're really good, and like the Chiefs are really good this year, and I think the networks projected them to be pretty good. These teams aren't. If you're not from a major market, and the Rams will get it on a little bit more because they're in Los Angeles, but you're not gonna get on these games, and you're not gonna get talked about a whole bunch unless you're making some noise. So
absolutely. Let's hear from Drew Brees. Look, Drew Brees didn't have to put the team on his shoulders yesterday. Played measured,
for 2 weeks.
And plenty of his actual incompletions weren't on him. There were a bunch of drop passes, but still, this receiving core came up big when they had to come up big, and Drew was 29 of 41, 268, 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 104.5, and the fact that he didn't need him to carry you, I think that's a huge thing as well. But let's hear what Drew Brees had to say. Let's go to the first cut, Dave, on how the game was won.
Yeah, that's it's winning football. It's complementary football. There's times where it'd be easy to get over aggressive, especially in a game that it's just hard fought and it's back and forth. But at times you got to play the field position game. And at the end of the day, hey, if you can get some first downs, pin them down in there, maybe get a short field the next time around because your defense stops them, or maybe they feel the pressure and defense is able to get a turnover or something of that nature. That creates momentum, that creates confidence, that creates points, and again, that's winning football. It's complementary football.
And you look at the run game, and you mentioned it. Could that have been better? Sure, but
he still hasn't figured it quite out yet.
Well, I think he's starting to figure it out. I'll tell you, and I wrote my 1st and 10 column on it last week, and I think it's exactly the route they went. You're going to play Ingram. You're going to play Kamara, and you only put in Adrian Peterson when any of those two guys need a breather.
Mark Ingram has got to get more than 14 carries, though.
14
carries. It needs to be 18 or more.
14 carries, 45 yards, only averaged 3.2 yards a carry. Longest run was 8 yards, and he also had 4 catches for 17 yards.
He did have a drop.
He did have a drop, yeah, exactly. But look, Alvin Kamara.
Fantastic.
We've been touting him.
He's like
all off season,
and they said it on the broadcast, and I've heard it before, but he really is like a young Darren Sproles, and he's just as tough. He doesn't care if he gets hit; he'll take a hit. He's got vision. He cuts the hole like he needs to cut the hole. I mean, this kid's going to be around for a long time.
And of course, the game sealer, that beautiful play on the little pitch, the little And it counted for fantasy people out there. It counted as a Drew Brees touchdown, even though it was essentially a run.
Let's don't go there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hashtag no one wants to talk about his fantasy team when he loses day. That's what that smells like.
I went 2-1 yesterday. But the one was to my.
Oh, by the way, hashtag nobody wants to hear about your fantasy team, Jim Derry. No one.
Okay. All right. Well, then I won't say that I won the baseball league over you yesterday. It's over.
Where's my money?
Ask Mr. Duncan.
Oh, deadbeat Dunc. Here we go. Deadbeat Dunc. Let's hear what Drew Brees had to say. We were talking about Alvin Kamara. And look, 10 targets, 10 catches yesterday, 71 yards and a touchdown. Let's hear what Drew Brees had to say on Alvin Kamara.
Listen, his maturation process is going well. He's got 2 veteran running backs in AP and Mark to learn from. I think he continues to, find an even broader role in this offense. Obviously there's a lot of things he can do: run the football, catching the ball. Had 10 catches today on 10 targets. That's pretty efficient. So we're not going to complain about that and continue to, broaden the scope of what he can do for this offense.
What Drew said can't be overstated. The fact that he has 2 veteran running backs in Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson with him to talk in his ear. And there's no jealousy factor there whatsoever because they're completely different kind of running backs. And you could see the love with all the running backs, really, and I like that. But having those 2 guys with him to kind of teach him the ropes, it can't be overstated.
Are you sure Adrian Peterson's having love for those guys?
No, I actually saw Adrian Peterson and Mark Ingram kind of bond at one moment towards the end of the game, and I don't think there's any animosity between any of those. I don't feel it at all, which is kind of surprising because I think if there's any animosity, it's between Mark Ingram doesn't call the plays.
Right.
So I think if there's any animosity, I think there's probably just a little bit behind the scenes. But
I don't think it'd have to be, yeah.
Sean Payton's doing what he's got to do. Look, there's no, and I said it last week, we don't care about hurt feelings anymore. If you want to win football games, feelings are irrelevant. You know, he's going to have to just suck it up and realize that he's a 33-year-old running back whose tread on the tires is wearing a little bit thin, and he is where he is at this stage of his career.
He ought to just be happy that he actually is getting $3.5 million and he doesn't have to do hardly any work. What's wrong with that? That's a tough job, right?
And I think I could have 4 carries for 4 yards.
He took 6 snaps in this game. 6.
I'd take 6 snaps for $3.5 million a year.
I think we all would. And Drew Brees mentioned the efficiency of the offense. Let's hear what Drew had to say about the offense. Hey, being efficient.
Listen, whatever it takes to win. You know, obviously we love big plays. I would consider us a big play offense, and yet we know when we get into games where I felt like their mindset was to keep it in front.
Hey, David in Vegas.
Very early on, and so I think we knew that we were going to have to be pretty methodical, very efficient in both the run game and the pass game. Completions, 2 and 3. I have a ton of long drives. You come off to the sideline and be looking at the tablet, and it's a 13-play drive or a 14-play drive. I mean, listen, that's when you can do that and then result in points. You've just kept your defense off the field for 6 minutes as well. So those are good things.
Let's hit the phone lines here real quick. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Heavy hearts and look with Las Vegas, and we've got a regular caller on, David in Vegas. Hey, David, we can't express enough the sadness that all of us are feeling all over the place for your community. But we do appreciate your call, David. Appreciate it. What you got?
Absolutely, thank you guys. Just pray for all the victims and all the people that's in the hospital, man. They need the prayers.
Absolutely.
And that's really probably what you can do. But I tell you, guys, on another topic, the Saints. They played very well yesterday. I thought the game was going to be a little closer, and it really wasn't. I mean, in the first half, it was a sloppy game for both teams. Let's just call it like it is. That first drive, though, I think Ken Crowley, him getting that interception really stopped the momentum of the Miami Dolphins, because if you were watching that first quarter, those guys were running the ball, looked pretty damn good. I thought, they were moving the ball pretty well, and they get down there, and Ken Crowley made the best play of the game. That interception was big.
Oh, no doubt about
I really
it.
think that
changed the game.
Stopped the momentum, and then it was kind of after that the Saints were all over them, and then the Saints they caught rhythm in the second half. They play a lot better. Overall, I'm very pleased. We still got room for improvement, but 2 wins in a row, you got to be pleased by that. And I think the Detroit game's a very winnable game, and I also think that the Packers is a winnable game. So let's see what happens, guys. I don't think any one of those teams are unbeatable. I think we have the talent. We just got to stick to what we're doing, and then we got to keep running Ingram and just not turn over the ball, and we can win these games.
Hey, David, appreciate the phone call, and appreciate again you just coming on here. And like I said, I know you call us regularly, and our hearts are out to you and the community out there. In Las Vegas. But appreciate the phone call. But you look at it, and there's no doubt. Look, Jay Cutler was feeling pretty good about himself in that first drive, and then
give me a cigarette.
Cutler went Cutler, and all of a sudden.
To hell with it, I don't feel like playing anymore.
The pick, and then it all went crashing down.
You guys stink.
Man, how is that even Jay Cutler's voice? That doesn't even sound anything like him.
You never heard him on the sideline before. That's how he talks on the sideline.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. You guys stink.
Yeah, you're positive. Smoking Jay Cutler. Woo, woo. But Saints 2-2. We'll got one more segment. We'll hear a couple more from Drew Brees about basically where they are 2 weeks removed from 0-2. Now they're 2-2, and we'll hear about just how the game was won. So we'll hear it from Drew Brees coming up next. And then LSU talk, hour number 2. Oh, boy. Get ready.
Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Coach O might have a case of the Mondays every day at this rate. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder.
Jordy Holtzberg.
Defense is non-existent.
2 till
I want to be like
They've
Drew
got
Brees.
7 new defensive starters.
This guy
3
has
new
the most
defensive
positive
coaches, and the
outlook on
same
everything. He's the
old
same
embarrassing
guy.
results.
If you just listened to his voice and didn't listen to the words, you'd have no idea if they won or lost.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Governor Billy Nunn.
Most of the time, yeah.
And I'm dead serious. I wish I could be like that. I mean, I wouldn't be me, but I mean, it's got to be a.
I'd be, yeah. I don't know how I would
You're
handle
always
that.
like positive.
I would
Flowers are coming down. I mean, his kids must just be like these happy joy kids. And I completely mean it in the best of ways.
Love It Like Vegeta says he's annoyingly optimistic. That's Scott Vegeta's. Well, that's one of his best lines he's ever said. That
For
Brees is
game-changing
annoyingly
innovation, look
optimistic.
to the Latrim family of companies.
Brees at
located
least
in
embraces
Harahan.
that. He knows
Interlock,
it.
a Latrim
But-
company,
And that's
changed the
who
game
he
when they
is,
invented
so, I mean-
modular
Yeah.
plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These
still
belts
don't
and
see how
innovative
he didn't
interlock
pay me.
technology are transforming
they're
movement in
yin
manufacturing
and yang.
facilities
Opposites.
around the
Oh,
world.
my God.
Yin and
Interlock is
yang,
a
there's no
dynamic
doubt about
global
that.
company now hiring in
give
production,
him a little
warehousing,
YouTube,
shipping, and more.
little
If
commentary
you want to
for
be
our
part of our
YouTubers.
successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. And now, with football season in full swing, let's be honest, most of your week is focused on your fantasy team or teams.
Nobody cares about a
No
fantasy
reason
team.
to leave the iHeartRadio app, because now we have the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. 24/7 interactive fantasy talk and advice so you can dominate your league. Get your fantasy football fix right on the app. Fantasy Sports Radio Network. iHeartRadio.
Charlie. Hey, did you see their play last night?
You don't put YouTube in here?
Yeah, and they still lost.
Sure.
You know, when I was playing, what we tried to
I don't normally do it. I think
I
someone.
played in the
I thought
surface.
someone did.
Boy,
but
what I'm trying to say is the kid, he should have.
Guess you might as well.
Hey, you okay? Someone call 911.
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of a heart attack or stroke, but you can lower the risk. Ask your healthcare provider how. For more info, go to Diabetes Act Now.
20 seconds.
American Diabetes Association and the Ad Council.
Load the McDonald's app and get a free large soft drink with any purchase every week. And right now, get any size soft drink, sweet tea, or coffee for
10 seconds.
for any time at McDonald's.
You wanna put it in
Limited
there?
time. Participation may vary.
I can go do it.
McDonald's.com/app for details. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is Duncan Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Dunk and Holder.
Little Eddie Grant on a Monday morning.
Hour number 1 is almost up, so Happy Times is almost up. Depression City's coming in about 10 minutes.
Maybe I'll jump on the LSU magic carpet and say, I'm gonna turn the tables and be the happy joy guy.
How can you be happy?
I don't know. I'll make something up.
You're gonna have to make you're gonna have to go in like Imagination World or something and figure it out for
I'm
you.
gonna go back to 2004.
Well, let's stay happy in hour number 1. Drew Brees spoke to the media, of course, after the win, and 0-2 2 weeks ago, 2-2 now. Oh, what a difference that makes. And let's hear what Drew Brees had to say on where they were 2 weeks ago and where they are now.
Listen, you go back to 2 weeks ago, and obviously we were in a tough spot, starting the season 0-2. You know, obviously not the start that we all wanted or expected. But we played 2 good football teams, you know, at Minnesota and then New England, 2 playoff caliber teams, obviously. So we were starting to play better, though. You know, we felt like we were closer than maybe everyone was trying to make us believe, you know. And I think we felt like we just keep plugging away, and it's going to begin to happen. You know, the formula is there. We just got to keep trusting that formula and that process, and go on the road, get a big win at Carolina, and then come on the road here and get a big win in London. We'll get that much-needed bye week, you know, to get this jet lag out of our system and refocus and get ready for Detroit.
The formula is definitely there. No turnovers.
I never got to that.
It's amazing. It's the third time?
Third time.
Third time in the modern era. So we're talking 1933 that a team has opened up a season the first 4 games without a turnover. Now, you could say, well, that's great and all, but they're still 2-2. But when you're playing turnover-free football, you give yourself plenty of opportunities to win, and obviously that helped because in the last 2 games, the Saints started creating takeaways. Obviously, you combine them together, and that's why the Saints are 2-0 in the last 2 weeks.
I wonder how much money you could make if you would have told somebody the Saints will have no turnovers through 4 weeks. I will bet you. How much money could you make?
The odds were probably 7,000 to 1. Because
that's probably about right. I mean, no joke. All kidding aside, but I mean, you look at Drew Brees and look, as accurate as he is, he does throw picks. Okay.
What? He does?
He does throw picks, and over the last, he had a really good year 2 years ago when he only threw 11. But he threw 15 last year. He threw 17 3 years ago. He threw 22 in 2010. So,
and that was a playoff year.
Playoffs?
Yeah.
It was a playoff year.
I know.
It was a heartbreaking playoff year. But, so to go through no matter who you are, to go through 4 games without a turnover is almost mind-boggling because any little thing can happen. And, well,
any little thing almost did happen.
Margin. Yeah.
With the crazy snap from Unger goes flying over everybody's head. The ball's out. And I put on Twitter, boy, I had a bad 2005 flashback when Drew Brees is diving on the ball to recover the fumble. Obviously, that's what happened.
Yeah, you kind of thought it was going to end there. It looked like that streak was going to end.
And you don't want to relive how he tore up his shoulder diving on a fumble.
Yeah,
nothing happened. Recovered. Saints are takeaway free. And look,
here's your stat of the day. So so I wouldn't get too fired up about it, but it's still great to talk about. But through 4 games last year, the Saints had 5 turnovers, which is still a 1.25 a game or whatever. So they're still in that same ballpark, and they were 1-3. So yeah, let's don't get too fired up about that stat, but it is great. You're always supposed to win the turnover margin, and when you don't turn over the ball, you're going to win the turnover margin. So.
Good job, Jim. That's expert analysis by one Jim Derry. Yeah, exactly.
I'm an expert.
Let's hear one more Drew Brees soundbite, and happy hour on a Monday is gonna go away here real soon.
You sure you don't want to make it go to 11:30?
No, Coach O deserves an hour of people's listening, pain and misery after what's going on. But let's hear what Drew Brees had to say on no matter how sloppy the game appeared. 20-0, a win's a win.
It's huge. It's huge. And again, we talk complementary football. There's a winning formula on defense. There's a winning formula on offense. And if you can put that together, at times it may not be the, most fancy-looking performance, and yet it's winning football. Defense did a great job of getting that turnover. They drive down the length of the field, and then we get the pick. And then, unfortunately, we drive the length of the field and miss the field goal. And so there's very few possessions in the first half just because of those long drives. But for them to stop Miami and give us a 2-minute drive opportunity, we get a field goal, we come in with momentum, 3-0, and then we take the opening drive down the field and we score a touchdown. Those are huge momentum shifts in the game, and that's just complementary football. Defense getting off the field, getting us the ball, getting us good field position.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Us being methodical and marching the ball down the field, scoring points.
I don't care if you're a Saints fan, how they win. Even if it's a 1-point ugly win, I'm sure a win's a win. But it doesn't matter because you won the game. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, look, let's don't get, again, because we're going into sad hour, so here's my segue.
We're going into sad hour.
Here's my segue. And people forget this because I forgot it. I had to look it up. The Saints last year started out 0-3, so they're one less than that. But then they won 4 out of 5, and everybody was all happy, joy again. Here the Saints going to make themselves relevant, and they're going to make this miracle comeback. And then they lost 4 of 5. So let's wait and see. There's Detroit coming in, and at Green Bay, and then there's the Bears and Bucks, and I still think the Bucks are going to win the division. I still think that. I've said it from the beginning. So if you get through that stretch 3-1. and get yourself to 5-3 and end the first half 5-3, then maybe we can talk.
My column going into the game basically said that. There's a roadmap. You got to win in Miami first.
They got to go 3-0.
The road is open for you to go down it to become relevant. You're not there yet.
You can't be 4-4 at the midway point.
No.
You got to be 5-3.
You can't. I totally agree. Hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. Saints win. Hooray for happy hour. LSU stinks.
I'm going to be happy just
Boo
despite
for the second hour. We want your phone calls on the LSU-Troy game. We're going to dive into it next. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Jim Derry's here for the Dunk. I'm the Holder here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Add it all up. We're Dunk and Holder.
Excellent music selections as always.
Blame it on the rain. Yeah.
I have no voice.
Large trucks and buses.
That's what we're blaming the loss on.
Break down.
It wasn't Coach O's poor performance. It was the rain.
Maybe he had no voice.
Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hi, this is Jennifer Coolidge. The American Heart Association says the disco song Stayin' Alive is the near-perfect beat for hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult collapse from cardiac arrest, you only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song Stayin' Alive. Disco is back and it's saving lives. To learn more, go to heart.org/hands-only-CPR.
Nationally supported by the WellPoint Foundation.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports trending now.
Starting with news from the NFL, following the Bears' Thursday night loss to the Packers, Chicago fell to 1-3. Well, today they are reportedly making a quarterback change. Rookie Mitchell Trubisky is expected to make his first NFL start next Monday night against the Vikings. Tonight's Monday Night Football action wraps up Week 4, kicks off 8:30 Eastern from Arrowhead. Chiefs hosting Washington. Kansas City is a perfect 3-0. The Redskins are 2-1 on the season so far. Major League Baseball's regular season wrapped up Sunday. The postseason gets underway on Tuesday night with the American League wild card game in the Bronx. Yankees host the Twins. National League wild card is Wednesday night in Arizona. Diamondbacks host the Rockies. And Mets manager Terry Collins won't return for an 8th season in the dugout. 68-year-old resigned after New York's 11-0 shutout loss to the Phillies. I'm Deb Carson.
We are Napa Know.
All right, 4 minutes, guys.
Synthetic motor oil is on sale for just $4.29 a quart.
No, they're not.
Quality
They're gonna
motor oil at an
skyrocket.
affordable price. A deal so good it practically sells itself. Which begs the question, what do we do with the rest of this commercial? Repeat the deal, I guess. Napa full synthetic motor oil for just $4.29 a quart. That's Napa Know-How.
Napa Know-How.
General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 10/31/17.
iHeartRadio. All your favorite music. All your favorite stations. All free. Need a break from the world? Open the iHeartRadio app. Pick a song, a playlist, an artist, or even a podcast, and immerse yourself in your own personal getaway space. Sometimes you just need to tune out the world. So tune in to iHeartRadio. Download or open the free iHeartRadio app today.
Charlie didn't allow BYU to get this. Unbelievable. There's something going on. I don't care how whatever how that's there. There's something going on.
I played in the service. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the kid, he should.
Yeah, hey, you okay?
Hell,
Someone
Keith
call
Thamel
911.
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of a heart attack or stroke. But you can lower the risk. Ask your healthcare provider how. For more info, go to diabetesactnow.org. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association and the Ad Council.
Wine on the River, presented by Southern Glazers, WGNO TV ABC, and NOLA 38, the CW. Saturday, November 11th at Audubon Aquarium Plaza from 3 to 6. Limited VIP and general admission on sale now at wineontheriver.NOLA.com. Proceeds benefit the Louisiana Hospitality Foundation.
Have you ever heard
And
those
this is the
commercials
worst
offering
thing.
an easy way out
Worst
of debt?
time for
It
a
could be
bad
for a
loss
debt
like
settlement
this.
company.
Oh,
Are
no
they
question.
asking
With
for
You gotta go to
media.
the swamp.
fees before
Well,
any money goes
not
to
just that, with
reducing your
media.
debt? Are they
What do you think
telling
I'm gonna be
to stop
talking about
paying
all
your
week?
credit card
Not the
bills and
Saints.
collecting the money instead?
All week.
Yeah, and the buy
They're
wage,
buy.
yeah.
Difference.
Yeah.
Call the National Foundation for Credit Counseling today at 800-388-2227 or visit debtadvice.org. That's debtadvice.org. This has been a public service message from the NFCC.
We're changing things up at Chili's. Even our song is changing.
Our old song was Baby Back, Baby Back, Baby Back. It was about ribs because that was our thing.
Everything's getting an update.
Our new menu is totally different. We made your favorite things a lot bigger.
We made our new burger half a pound. That's much bigger.
And the ribs are 30% bigger. The fajitas are way bigger too.
48% actually. But that's like impossible to say.
I don't know, maybe just let me
Yeah, I
try
saw
it.
that
The
last
fajitas
night.
have 48% more fajitas.
Oh, baby, Chili's is back.
Baby back, baby back.
You think everyone's watching that show with the girl and the dragons and the game and the throne. But just like the show, that's fantasy. More people in America listen to the radio than watch that throne show. It's true. Radio reaches 93% of Americans each week. That's more than TV, Facebook, and Google. Put that in your dragon and smoke it. Radio reaches more adults, teens, and even millennials. So if you're a marketer, get the most out of your marketing dollar. Talk to the folks
All right, 1 minute.
TV.
All right.
Go to iHeartMedia.com for the one place you can reach everybody. AM, FM radio.
From baking to dinners with friends, why do the best things in life create so many dirty dishes? Forget the mess. Finish Quantum gives you an unbeatable clean. And now, Finish Quantum also gives you 25% more loads per pack than Cascade Platinum. So bring on more baked-on lasagna, get stuck into more sticky cherry pie, and say yes to more dried-on brownie mix. Finish Quantum tackles them all. Pick it up in store today. Comparison made to Cascade Platinum Retail Pack.
I was 11 years old at my first national championships. I fell, I don't know how many times.
Michelle Kwan is the most decorated figure skater in U.S. history.
But I had a dream. My dream came true because I dedicated myself.
Dedication made Michelle Kwan a champion.
I was passionate about something and I made sure that I worked hard for it.
And dedication.
10 seconds.
Reality.
Whatever your dream and goals are, they can come true.
Dedication. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Duncan Holder, hour number 2.
I don't wanna.
On a Monday, October 2nd, I left it up to humanity.
I don't wanna.
In which order we wanted to talk about certain 2 football teams. And we listened.
Let's talk about Tulane.
They have a big game coming up this week.
They're better than LSU.
That might be up for debate.
The
fact that I'm saying that might be up for debate.
I'm dead serious.
I believe you. But I left it up to humanity, what we would talk about first hour. Put a Twitter poll up. 74% wanted to hear about the Saints win. So we did that. Hour number 1, all about the Saints win. If you missed it, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube page. You can catch the gloriousness after the show of hour 1, because hour 2 is pain and suffering.
Speaking of pain and speaking of pain and suffering for teams that wear purple and gold, Dalvin Cook is out for the season. It's confirmed. Mike Zimmer confirms it. The rookie is out for the season with a torn ACL. So all you people, nobody cares about our fantasy teams, but I guarantee you the people out there that care about their fantasy teams. And Dalvin Cook is gone.
And a primary weapon in that Vikings offense that's been dealing with a bunch of injuries. Boy, the Saints...
Now you wish you played him in week 5 or week 6 instead of week 1.
Exactly. Well, heck, Sam Bradford's been out, and so, look, he shredded the Saints. But yeah, Dalvin Cook out for the year with a torn ACL. Mike Zimmer just confirmed.
Can we talk about other injuries, and I can stretch it out?
You are trying. You were trying to elude it. Not going to happen.
I don't want a case of the Monday.
One of the worst losses in LSU history. There's just no way to sugarcoat it. They go down to Troy, 24-21, down again to Troy, big, and you could tell that team wasn't making the comeback that other teams did. Jarrett Lee wasn't walking in that door to make you storm back against Troy like he did a few years ago.
When I'm doing my broadcast Saturday night of Brother Martin and St. Augustine, and we're following it. When you have to go look up the other team's nickname and you're losing to them, that's pretty bad. And now I don't even remember what it is.
They're not the Trojans?
Are they?
I don't know. All I know is they're victorious. They got paid $1 million to go into homecoming at LSU.
Yeah, well, I saw that on Twitter.
LSU. Oh, probably the other number you saw is that $12 million is the number to buy out Ed Ogeron's contract, because people certainly wanted to know that, and there's a reason why we put a post up on NOLA.com, because this is pathetic.
Well, they could have taken a bye week last week and taken that money that they gave to Troy and given it to Ed O.
Could have, should have, would have. Now, I'm sure.
Mora.
There you go. I don't think. I bet you Saints, LSU fans hope Ed Ogeron becomes Jim Mora and just quits, because that's the only way you're going to get Ed Ogeron out right now. That's the only way.
It's a hard topic for me, because it's a lot easier when I don't like a guy, and and I've said this before. Coach O, his sons played at Mandeville when I was. When I was just covering the North Shore, and I could actually go out to practices during the week, and I would spend a lot of time at practice. And before he was the coach at LSU, we probably spent literally 12 or 15 BS sessions standing around on the sideline just talking about football. And, he's a really down-to-earth guy who, he's just a regular guy who I like. But, like you said, you can't lose to Troy, and I don't know how he's going to recover from this at this point. You can't recover this year.
No.
I mean, they're not going to beat Alabama for sure. I mean, 100%, and I don't say 100% very often, but they're 100% not going to beat Alabama.
No.
They're 95% not going to beat Florida. They're about 85% not going to beat Auburn. So if you just take those three games right there, and they're going to be lucky at this point to make a bowl game.
That is
like the eye bowl.
That is a real dilemma right now.
Yeah,
and that's a true, real dilemma, and it's not hyperbole. It's not.
So I'll go look it up at the next break. But LSU, even if it's the eye bowl, does not go through a season without going to a bowl, and there is a legitimate possibility that they don't go to a bowl this year.
Look, all I know is when Jordan Chun runs for 191 yards on a defense that's supposed to be one of the best defenses in the country, as always, you've got issues. When your head coach has no idea who's getting the ball in the first play of the game, and then it's a fumble, and then Troy goes and scores, you got a problem. When you don't know who on planet Earth should be your quarterback, you got a problem.
This is what happens when you wish for something to happen. And all those LSU fans who got sick and tired of watching Les Miles would win 8, 9, 10 games a year, every year, until they basically backed him into a corner, and he looked like he didn't want to be here anymore, and they didn't want him here anymore. So that, that farce of a beginning of the season last year and the Auburn game, that wasn't his fault. I mean, they should have just let him go before. I mean, it was too late. You already cut ties with him. But all you LSU fans out there, and look, I'm an alum, so all you LSU fans out there who wanted Les Miles gone, you're getting what you asked for right now. They should have gone out and get a bigger name coach. They tried, okay? They tried, and you're getting what you asked for right now. And I said this for 4 years before they did whatever they did with Les Miles, for 4 or 5 years. And now, who knows when LSU will be relevant again?
Well, they're stuck with O right now.
Right. Who knows when LSU will be relevant again?
You're not going to pay 2 buyouts.
No.
You're just not. You're already paying a Les Miles buyout. Now you're going to, if you got rid of Ogeron.
But you think this is going to get better?
No. Not this year. No.
You think it's going to get better next year?
Well, it depends on the record. I mean, what if they're 4-8? Yeah, it could get better. But that's the thing. They're going to plummet, and this isn't
not going to get LSU better, is what I mean.
Right. There's a difference there. And
I mean, you might get yes. Next year and say, okay, yippee, we're 7-4. We get to go to the House of Cards, sponsored by Joe Blow,
the Poinsettia
Crab
Bowl,
Shack Bowl,
the Bahamas Bowl,
yippee.
Or something like that,
and play Toledo.
Well, here's the thing. it wasn't that we didn't see a sluggish performance coming. We've seen it for 3 weeks now. That it's becoming the norm rather than the exception.
I didn't see this coming. I thought they would bounce. I really thought they would bounce back and play with spirit and heart, and even if they didn't cover the 3-touchdown spread, I thought they would play with a lot of heart. They're in Tiger Stadium and get fired up. But it was you couldn't have written a script that was any worse than what Saturday night played out to be.
No, and Pete Thamel, national college sports writer for Yahoo, has an interesting column. We've had Pete on the show. We're going to effort to get him on again this week, and we've had some candid conversations with him and, say, Pat Forty on Ogeron and just what kind of coach it is. And they weren't kind to him even before the season started because they look at it as a bungled hire. Of course, Tom Herman, they wanted him. Tom Herman played LSU like a fiddle, and then you're stuck with Ogeron.
How about that wonderful Matt Canada offense?
Where is that exactly? Where people are asking when can Cam Cameron come back? That is the worst indictment on your coaching prowess you could probably ask for as an offensive caller.
Not to go back too far in the history books, but that was the biggest mistake that Les Miles made. And if he doesn't hire Cam Cameron, he's probably still here.
Sure, exactly. I remember talking with friends, and they were all fired up on Cam Cameron's offense. And I said, do you see his history? The guy was the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. He gets fired in the season. The offense turns around when he leaves, and they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He lasted 1 year in Miami. One as an offense coach.
When you're saying, oh, we're going to hire an NFL offensive coordinator.
Carl Smith, go hire him.
Oh, God. Really?
I'm going way back. Bring him to LSU, Carl Smith.
That curly-haired.
Hey, he got Russell Wilson a Super Bowl. He was his quarterback coach with the Seahawks when they won the Super Bowl. I wrote a column on it. Carl Smith, bring him back, baby. Oh, yeah.
He'd be better than Matt Canada.
Oh, man. How much the shine has gone off on them. We'll dive into more details on the loss. Where do the Saints? Where does LSU go from here? We'll hear from Ed Ogeron. I still am not going to get over the fact that he did not know who was going to get the ball in the first play of the game.
Let me ask you real quick. If LSU goes 3-9, you still don't think he gets fired?
I don't know.
I think you absolutely have to.
If he goes 3-9, I think
you need to find the money and do it.
Absolutely. I agree. But I don't. Do they go 3-9? I don't know. We can map out the schedule. Look, and it's the worst.
Kevin Sumlin will be available.
You know who else is available? A guy named last name Kelly, first name Chip. You know another guy who's available, last name Stoops, first name Bob.
You know, before, those are two guys that I would never want at LSU as an alum. But at this point, okay.
Exactly. You're just like, what the heck? Yeah, exactly. Okay. Whatever. Exactly. So we'll dive more into this, and we'll hear from Ed Ogeron, his comments from after the game. Let's take a quick break, and we want your phone calls. 504-260.
We're sad.
1280 is the number to get involved. I'm not sad. I'm almost just fired up and just befuddled at how LSU football can get to this point. Befuddled.
I'm sad.
You are sad.
I'm really sad.
Man, Boys to Men aren't going to help you get any
not at all.
Either.
Thanks, Dave.
Come on back, Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. Exactly. Put away the dull end of the butter knife. Don't cut your wrist with a spork. Don't do it. Slow, painful, more just annoying. And that's what we are here today at Dunc and Holden.
I'm going to talk like Jay Cutler. Yeah.
Enjoy wines from around the world. Great food.
That is how Jay Cutler talks.
Yeah,
I quit. I'm leaving.
That's the second annual Wine on the River.
Does not sound like Jay Cutler. You just like makeup Cutler.
You guys stink. I'm leaving.
You ought to just be like, hi, my name is Jay Cutler. I believe that more than
2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Didn't he look like that though? Like I quit. You guys stink.
14th at the UNO Grand Ballroom.
You ran the wrong route in the end zone. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Go to asgno.org. Bike MS is October 7th and 8th. It's a 2-day bike ride from Hammond to Macomb and back to raise funds and awareness for multiple sclerosis. Go to nationalmssociety.org. A message from Sports 1280 Communities, helping to make a difference in New Orleans.
Hi, it's
All right,
Jamie,
Dave, we're going to start
Progressive's
playing some of
Employee
this
the Month, 2
sound
months in a
here.
row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just
I'm
had a
gonna
new
fix my
idea for
collar
our
for
song
you
about the Name Your Price
YouTubers.
tool. So when
Pop
it's like,
collar
tell us
Monday.
what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then
my
we
wife
just
would be
all do
proud
finger
now.
snaps while a choir goes, statements coming at ya, statements coming at ya.
She
Yes?
looks
No?
sloppy
Maybe?
sometimes.
Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
I'm a sports guy. I'm supposed to look sloppy.
iHeartRadio. All your favorite music. All your favorite stations. All free. Need a break from the world? Open the iHeartRadio app. Pick a song, a playlist, an artist, or even a podcast, and immerse yourself in your own personal getaway space. Sometimes you just need to tune out the world. So tune in to iHeartRadio. Download or open the free iHeartRadio app today.
Only AT&T gives you entertainment your way.
1 minute.
Message in a more entertaining way.
Give me what I want, or you'll never see your sidekick again.
Give him what he wants, Mac.
What do you want? An unlimited data plan
Next
that
break,
gives
I'm
me
gonna have to
more
go
than
get
just
some more
talking,
coffee.
texting, and
That's how
surfing. I want
bad
live
this
TV.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, it does.
Told you.
Only AT&T gives you unlimited
Can't wait
data
till
and
when LSU
DirecTV
plays
on any
Tennessee.
screen.
Requires
Such a
eligible
good
AT&T
game.
Unlimited plan after 22 gigabytes of
Tennessee
data usage.
they're
AT&T
bad,
slow
too.
speeds. Compatible device.
I
with
watched
Verizon
that game.
Full
Yeah,
Set
that quarterback looks pretty bad.
See store for plain details.
All.
Dave.
Misplaced your debit card? Turn it off in the Wells Fargo app. When it turns up, turn
10 seconds.
I thought Dave played that as music.
Funny. I thought he did too. I was laughing.
Lost or stolen debit cards must still be reported. See app for details. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Jim Derry both thought. Jim Derry and I both thought that Dave was just playing some
I was
funny
about to give him
rejoin
some
music,
real kudos.
but it was actually just the commercial about not liking losing.
Maybe he found the commercial like, let's give him some.
You could do
sponsor.
any of it, all of it here as we were talking LSU Troy. Oh baby, we barely talked about LSU Troy. I don't think we mentioned the game Friday.
Barely. We talked about it in the picks segment. I think
that was
about
Thursday.
It.
We did that Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked because, and this week, that's all we're going to be talking about because, of course, this 3-game debacle already is wildfire up in Baton Rouge as you stink against Mississippi State, you barely beat Syracuse, and you lose at home, homecoming to Troy. Guess what? There's no Saints game to talk about this week. So guess where all the Spitfire and Venom's going to be going? Up the road an hour up to Baton Rouge all week.
I do just want to point out that on the Mondays when I sit in this chair, the Saints are 2-0, and Dunc is 0-2. I'm just pointing that out.
How's LSU?
LSU's irrelevant.
They're irrelevant. They're pretty relevant if you ask me. Pretty relevant that they're stinking so bad. Look,
that's pretty bad.
Let's hear what Ed Orgeron has to say for it. Look, he's going to do his weekly press conference, so I'm sure we'll be playing some more audio from Orgeron tomorrow and throughout the week because, like I said, LSU's taking on Florida. That game hasn't had enough controversy around it already, and it has nothing to do with the actual on-field play. Now you bring that element to it, and it's going to be a wild week.
It's going to be swampy.
Man, Jim, no one calls you the best, color commentary guy in the business for nothing,
the best
right?
guy in the business.
Exactly. Let's hear what Orgeron had to explain to himself, to humanity, his opening statement after the loss to Troy.
All right, man, obviously disappointing performance. We were out-coached and outplayed tonight. That's the bottom line. Got to keep this team together. They're hurting in there. And we got to find out why we're not making the plays we're supposed to make, whether it be alignment, whether it be the play we're calling, assignment, or the player. And we just got to do some soul search. Look at what we're doing wrong. 4 turnovers, critical. 0 of 8, third down. They were 10 of 18.
And we got an Al in New Orleans.
Started rushing on our defense. We gave up too many yards rushing. It seemed like we got out physical by Troy tonight, which is not Tiger football, and it's something that we got to look at.
He says we got to find out what's wrong. How about he finds out first, and then we can go to we, because he doesn't even know what the hell's going on.
You're getting out-physicaled by Troy. Just think about that.
I don't want to think about it.
LSU is out-physicaled by Troy. How does that even happen? How does that happen?
Well, maybe they saw those maroon jerseys from Alabama, and they thought it was November.
I have no idea. But let's hit the phone lines. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Al in New Orleans. Al, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got, Al?
Well, we got what we wanted. Everybody wanted it, didn't they?
Exactly.
All these geniuses wanted him to be the coach.
Thank you. Exactly.
They're writing hundreds of letters, thousands of letters, whatever you want to say, want him to be the coach. And so when you get what you want, sometimes it's very difficult to complain. However, I think he's pushing the button too much. He's not going to be able to figure out what's wrong. He's not the sharpest tool in the box. You have to understand that. I'm sure you do understand that.
Absolutely.
But what do we get? He doesn't tell you anything definitive. Nothing definitive. One of y'all brought up a good point. He's got to go make the corrections. It's the same old story. We've been out coached, we've been out this, we've been out this. We hired two guys that if both of them passed out on Highland Road, it would take 3 days to identify the bodies, the Canada and the other guy. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous. I don't know how you, I don't even know how you all feel. The key is, what do we do from here?
You're stuck.
You can't do anything.
That's the problem. You're stuck. And you made the bad hire. Now you're stuck with it for a while because you're already paying for one coach to not coach you anymore. You're not going to pay for two coaches to not coach for you anymore. Well, if this goes in the toilet, maybe it will. But, boy, you better go get, call Shaq.
How about you get a new AD?
You better call Shaq to open the bank.
How about you go get a new AD?
Well, that's part of the problem,
Who knows what the hell
too.
he's doing.
I think that's part of the problem, too. Hey, Al, appreciate your call and absolutely appreciate your frustration. And you mentioned Matt Canada. And the first play of the game where it's Nick Brissett gets the carry instead of
I didn't know he was getting the ball.
Your guy, who you've been touting for
Darrell Williams
for a while. Darrell Williams, yeah, he's
very good running back.
He's Ed Orgeron doesn't know what the heck's going on offensively. Here's what O had to say on the first carry of the game. Brissett fumble, Troy picks it up, then scores almost immediately. And here's Ed Orgeron basically throwing Matt Canada under the bus.
Got to fight hard, man. I got to fight hard. I got to be a leader. I got to do my best job ever right now. And it's not about pointing fingers. It's about everybody looking at a man in the mirror and get better. Start with me, but you know what? Everybody got to look at it. And, I took the blame the first time, and I'll take it again. But you know what? We got to call better plays. We got to stop them on defense. We got to do better on special teams. We got to make plays. We got guys out there that are not making plays. They're supposed to make plays. Get beat at the point of attack. I wish we could have had that first down back. I mean, I wanted Darrell to get the ball, and our third string back got the ball, and I should have done a better job of game planning. I was not aware that we were going to do that, and I think that's not the way we ought to start the game.
So he's not pointing fingers.
I'm not going to point fingers, but
I'm not going to point fingers, but I don't know what we're doing there, and Darrell should have got the ball there, and he needs to do a better job game planning. What if you're
Does he have the headset on to the look?
Canada.
What's he listening? Is he listening to Paul Abdul in his headphones? I mean, he hears the play being called, right? I'm assuming that's what's going on in the headphones.
I have no idea what's in the headphones.
I mean, so you should know who's getting the ball. Don't tell me afterwards I didn't know he was getting the ball. Whatever. You don't have him on so you can listen to Live Aid. Stop the play or change. We're not doing that. Don't tell me afterwards we should have done something different. I don't want to hear that.
It's unbelievable that's ridiculous. The case. That's unbelievable.
How does it happen at this level?
I think everyone's asking that question right now. And the fact that Orgeron volunteered this, he didn't want to throw anybody under the bus, but he certainly threw someone under the bus.
No question.
And he volunteered this in his, we got to fix everything. Oh, by the way, I have no idea why Brissett got the ball. None. Zero.
Basically means we've got to fix it, but I don't know how to fix it.
Right. And I think he is he's walking around pacing, not knowing what's going on. Let's hear what Orgeron had to say Just what's the problem with this team?
We stink.
Yeah, we got to look at leadership. We're doing the same things we did last year when I took over. We're practicing. We have the same meetings. We have energy. Looking like everything's okay. Then we're going out there and we're not playing very well. And so I always look at myself first. I always look at what we do at practice. I always go back to the scripts. I always go back to what we ran, what we did. And I think it's just a matter of we got to get better. We got to get better at some positions. No excuses.
Those are all excuses.
I was gonna say.
Those are all excuses. No excuses.
Maybe we should replay the clip and count how many excuses there were in there before he says no excuses.
Well, the excuses, I know at some point in the press conference he mentioned how you lost 5 players to the NFL. Well, you're the recruiting guy. Shouldn't you just
Les Miles lost 6 or 7 players to the NFL every year.
You just
for
reloaded.
12 years.
You reloaded LSU, and they obviously haven't reloaded quite that. But let's go back to this play, because it was brought back up in the press conference again. So here's Ed Ogeron on who made the call on the first play.
Well, I make all the calls, so everything goes through me. So I should have.
You got a Dave on the I-10.
So everything goes through me. No pointing the finger at anybody. If I could have had that call back, Darryl would have got the ball. So is it miscommunication? You heard what I said?
You heard what I said? Woo! Snippy.
And he doesn't, he really doesn't get snippy very often. You'd think a guy with a voice like that would get snippy off, but he really doesn't.
No, but he knows the world's coming down on him right now.
Well, let me tell you, the vultures are about to be circling, because that press room's not going to be, it's not going to be a fun place to be, because those guys they haven't had to be vultures in a couple years now, so.
Well, if you've had to be vultures in certain situations, you could be a vulture when they don't get over the 50 in the national championship game. We're talking about them not even being bowl eligible at this rate. This is how bad this has gotten.
We're the media. We're just a bunch of jerks.
Well, I've been accused of that my entire life before I was even in the media. So there you go. Let's hit the phone lines, 504-260-1280. Dave on I-10. Be careful out there, Dave, on I-10, but appreciate you calling Dunc and Holder. What you got, Dave?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if there are more idiots on the interstate with their flashes on because they can't drive, or people
they don't know the laws. Right, exactly.
Recruiting class the past 3 years of LSU.
I'm right behind you, buddy. I'll be on the I-10 shortly. So.
Yeah, in all fairness to Coach O, hey man, it's his first year, and he's dealing the cards he was dealt with, and he's got to make lemons he's got to make lemonade with lemons,
You mean NFL talent?
It doesn't help any when you don't have a good recruiting class, and when it comes July and the team still doesn't understand the plays that the offensive coordinator is trying to make, and you can tell that they're still confused, and there's a lot of shuffling on the line, lots of things. So I would ask folks that not to throw Coach O under the bus right out the gate, at least give him a year and see what happens before you start calling for his head. That's just being fair.
All right.
And secondly, it speaks a lot to the LSU athletic department and the athletic director when you have the University of Alabama's coaches coming to St. Tammany Parish to look at running backs and say, hey, where's LSU? Where's the state? Looking at the local guys. That's all I got to say. You guys, appreciate the show. Take care.
All right, Dave. Appreciate the phone call. Be careful out on I-10, rainy I-10 today. But Alabama's still Alabama. But you got to be able to compete. Right now, they're not even competing. I'll just put it to you this way: the column by Pete Thamel, Yahoo's national college writer, and he says he talked with about a half dozen coaches or people in the know in college football, and here's the main quote: they don't play hard. Troy was more physical, and that was one comment. Another one from one assistant coach in college: it wasn't what you expect. You expect guys ready to kick your ass. There wasn't any fire. Genetically, they weren't as good. On film, they weren't as good. But these guys, I don't know. These guys, I don't even know what to say. I can't believe they play the way they do. They're soft. It doesn't make sense.
Was our last caller, and I'd like to go the LSU's past coaching administration on the woes that this team has now?
Well, wasn't Ed part of that? Just saying.
Yeah. And Les Miles, you can say what you want about Les Miles' game, Colin, but Les Miles, if he's not the best recruiter in the country, he's certainly in the top 3. So this cupboard isn't bare, and don't blame it on poor recruiting, because LSU is in the top 10 in recruiting almost every year, and sometimes in the top 5 and top 3. Don't blame it on recruiting. It has nothing to do with the talent, because there's plenty of talent there.
504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. We'll take one more call and then hit a commercial break here. Brent in the CBD. Brent, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got?
Hi. I'm not an Edo fan. I'll tell you that. I think he's probably in over his head. But I don't understand what one of you said about us getting what we asked for, and one of you is sounding like you're much of a less loyalist. But after 2011 debacle, 21-0, we have 3 years with 3 and 4 losses in the SEC, bad losses. So I think what we were asking for, at least what I was asking for, is that he should have been let go at the end of the 2015 season, and then a proper search to get a new coach. I certainly don't think. And then we come into the 2016 season, and where he says he's going to open up his offense, and we see this debacle in Wisconsin. So
it was already over then.
I'm not satisfied with that. So I don't think we asked for Ed O and getting what we asked for. I think we asked for a competent search to get a good head coach, and the 2 guys that we didn't get, Fisher and the Texas coach, aren't the only 2 out there. So that's where I think things were botched. I don't think the fans were asking for Ed Ogeron and now getting what we deserve.
Hey, Brent, appreciate the phone call. And look,
I don't disagree with he's talking about me. So
of course he's talking about you.
So let me say that I don't disagree with the part that they should have gone out and done a full search. And don't blame Les for anything that happened in 2016, because it was already over by then. Joe Oliva completely screwed up the situation. He should have been, at that point, you need to just fire him. And I agree that he should have been fired after the 2015 season, because you already obviously wanted to fire him. So just let him go and move on. But what I mean by you got what you deserved, not necessarily Coach O, but people who just want to make a change for change's sake. 2011, they went to the national championship game. Being number 2 isn't the worst thing in the world. Sure, you want to be number 1, and they played poorly, but don't give me all that.
Well, Les Miles, look, it was going downhill. Let's be honest. I mean, I think expectations are always huge, and when you're at LSU, you should look. Tom Herman, you got played, and that's the guy who you wanted.
That's right.
And Coach O got the job, and you settled, and this is what LSU. I'm saying you, as in LSU. That's what you got.
And yes, I am a Les loyalist. I liked Les Miles, and I thought he was a good coach. And there I said it.
There you go. All right, come on back. We'll hear more from Coach O after the LSU Troy loss. Here, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
I can leave.
Sports 1280.
Yeah. Song to Dave.
We'll be in and out of showers as we go today on Monday.
Dave.
We are seeing a little.
We got a Steve in Sacramento.
All right, Steve's going to give me grief
plenty of moisture. We continue to see showers on and off. Not a lot of lightning, but this is going to continue through the afternoon and into the evening. The bright note shouldn't last that long. Once we get into the day on Tuesday, we will start to see things clearing out. Temperature-wise, look for low to mid-80s for highs. Overnight lows right around 70.
From baking to dinners with friends, why do the best things in life create so many dirty dishes? Forget the mess. Finish Quantum gives you an unbeatable clean. And now, Finish Quantum also gives you 25% more loads per pack than Cascade Platinum. So bring on more baked-on lasagna, get stuck into more sticky cherry pie, and say yes to more dried-on brownie mix. Finish Quantum tackles them all. Pick it up in store today. Comparison made to Cascade Platinum Retail Pack.
Never give in.
Never give in. Never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense.
Winston Churchill's immortal words stirred an entire country in the face of certain defeat.
Maybe
Today,
Winston
these
Churchill
words
should be
give
the
each of
LSU
us the courage to reach for our own victories.
Never give in. Never give in. Never, never, never.
Commitment. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
I can't stand losing.
30 seconds.
I can't stand losing. I can't.
Oh, Steve hung up.
All right.
No Steve.
That's fine.
I can't stand losing you.
Misplaced your debit card? Turn it off in the Wells Fargo app. When it turns up, turn it back on.
10 seconds.
I can't stand losing you.
Lost or stolen debit cards must still be reported. See app for details. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Our All-Stars bring you the inside knowledge for your home teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Duncan Holder back at you. Jim Derry sitting in for the Dunk. Of course, I'm Larry Holder. Got a comment on YouTube saying they should have hired P.J. Fleck. He's doing a pretty darn good job in Minnesota right now, I can tell you that. And I'm sure people are probably calling him, wondering, hey, you want to come to LSU?
Look, I have no problem. Let me clear something up. When I say that I'm a less loyalist, because that's what I was called by a caller, I'm not necessarily saying it wasn't time for a change. But there were tons and tons and tons of LSU fans who were all fired up about Coach O coming in. A guy who, and no disrespect to Coach O really, because he is who he is. Besides being the Ole Miss coach, he's never really, for a very short time, he's never really been anything but an interim coach. LSU is a program that really needs and deserves a high-profile guy, or at least some young. And if you're going to take the route of not the high-profile guy, you've got to go the young and up-and-coming guy.
Well, they wanted Tom Herman.
Right, but if you don't get him, you can't just say, okay, we didn't get who we wanted, so we're going to settle. You don't settle at LSU. And that's what this athletic department did. They settled. And so part of what I'm saying, when you get what you deserve, I don't necessarily just mean fans. I mean the program in general also getting what they deserve for settling. You don't get what you want. There's nothing wrong with saying we're going to keep the interim tag on you for now. And I know it hurts recruiting and all that stuff, but it's better than setting your program back 5 to 10 years. And they're not quite at that point yet, but they're close. So you have to go out and make – this is LSU. You can't go back to the Stone Age. You can't go back to the DiNardo days and Curly days and all that stuff. We have a man that we work for who went through all of that, and I thought we were past all that. So – They had to do a thorough search, and they didn't do one.
Okay, the game's coming up. Name a win at Florida. You think they're going to win there?
No.
Home to Auburn. You think they're going to win there? At Ole Miss.
Yeah, they'll win that.
They might.
Ole Miss is in a worse boat than we are. So
at Bama. Will they lose by 50?
No.
45 maybe.
No, I actually think that Coach O will be able to rally the troops. I think they'll lose by a few touchdowns, but I think that's the kind of game that'll surprise people. The line will be ridiculous, and I'll tell my friends, if you partake in such actions, that you probably should take the Tigers, because I don't think it'll be a ridiculous blowout. But no, they're not going to beat Alabama.
Arkansas at home.
No.
At Tennessee.
Maybe.
They are in worse shape than LSU.
They could.
Well, they've already been set back, and that's what happens when you make the wrong hires. You become Tennessee.
I think
LSU does not want to become Tennessee.
If I had to give you a prediction now, I think it's going to come down to the Texas A&M game on whether they make a bowl or not. I think they're going to have to win the Texas A&M game. That's at home, right?
A&M is no, yes, A&M.
Okay, so I think it's going to come down to having to win the Texas A&M game to go to a bowl.
That's pitiful.
It really is, but I think that's what's going to happen.
That's pitiful. Let's hear what Ed Ogeron had to say. Guess what? We don't know what the hell's going on at quarterback. Does anybody know who's going to be starting? I don't know. You put in Danny Etling, and you take him out and put in Miles Brennan, and you put Danny Etling back in.
That does not work. Don't do that anymore.
Well, you got to make a decision. I'm sure
make
at some
one.
point. Well, here's
Even
Ed
if
Ogeron.
you make the wrong one, make one.
Here's Ed Ogeron on the quarterback situation in the Troy game.
You know, Danny got roughed up a little bit. He could have went back in the third quarter, wanted to give Miles a shot. We needed a boost. And he made some big plays. He did. And then obviously the interception at the end was critical, so we put Danny back in. That's a difficult deal right now because we can't move the ball. We missing some key plays. With Danny in there, we're giving Miles a chance. He goes in there, but, it's not his fault. He don't have the experience. And that was a critical interception. We were driving to get the game closer.
Do you think that Darius Geis coming back can get them another win or two?
Yeah. I mean, Darius Geis is going to be in the NFL. He's that kind of player. But, and if he would have played Saturday night, they probably would have won.
Are we sure?
No, you can't be sure of anything. But, Danny Etling, what happens when you start having quarterback controversies and you're talking about 20-year-old kids? What happens is they start looking over their shoulder. Danny Etling was not making these kinds of mistakes when he when he didn't have to look over his shoulder. And now he's making these mistakes because he doesn't feel like people have confidence in him. They're they're 18 to 20 to 21-year-old kids. I mean, they are who they are. I mean, so you need to pull Danny Etling in your office this week and say, you know what? We're going into the swamp, and unless you just completely stink it up, you're the quarterback the entire game. Stop playing around and giving Miles Brennan an opportunity, unless you want Miles Brennan to be your quarterback.
I was about to say, which quarterback do you prefer?
If you want Miles Brennan to be your quarterback, then just put him in. Make the decision and live with it. If you're wrong, but make the decision. Stop doing that.
I think they need to make a decision. And we've seen it for how many years? Look,
it never
works. No.
I mean, doing the Wildcat thing every now and then is okay and whatever, and that you could even do with Brissett because he's done that in high school. But pick a quarterback and stick with him, and if he stinks up the joint, then you can make a change after the game or whatever. But doing the dual quarterback system doesn't work anywhere. It's never worked. It's not going to work.
Well, even think back when you were in 11 and you were flip-flopping quarterbacks
right.
and you lived dangerously and somehow you got it to work, but then it burned you in the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, and they got really lucky in that to get to be able to play Alabama again, and they got lucky.
Yes,
very, very lucky.
Absolutely.
So you just have to pick one, and even if the fans might think, let's see Miles Brennan play. It's great in theory, and it's fine when you're winning 42-0 against Troy. Oh, wait a minute. Anyway, it's fine in those kinds of games like the old LSU, and then you want to put in your backup quarterback because you're winning big and you want to get him experience. That's fine. But, you can't do it any other time, really.
Now it's a controversy.
It's a full-blown
controversy.
No question.
And because you can't beat Troy. You can't beat Troy.
And the coaching caused this. But, again, it's because kids are looking over their shoulder and they're wondering when they're going to be yanked. And you can't play football like that.
No, you get yourself in trouble. Let's take one final break here on the show. Talking LSU, Troy, Ed Ogeron, chaos. No quarterback.
I'm sad.
And people around the country just think LSU's soft. And that's it. And when's the last time you ever heard that? Probably about a quarter to never.
Been a while.
Been a long
since Marcus Carmouche played.
Why are you throwing our boss under the bus? That's the Curly days. Man, that's a cheap shot.
I wish we had a center back then. We would somebody to block for Jamie Howard. He wouldn't have thrown 6 picks.
I mean, you were just getting a steamroller out and running over our poor boss. Man, give him a break. He's got to watch this stuff, too. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder. Poor Marcus.
Can't resist.
Join Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Is the sky falling already for
Yes.
local football fans?
4 till 6.
I don't know which team looks
Saints,
worse.
it's awesome.
Sports
Yeah.
Ugly.
New Orleans.
Of course it's
Hi, I'm
flooding.
Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding
Hey,
America.
Dave, we'll play that
and the
one
Ad
more
Council.
soundbite with.
Hi,
Oh.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Billy Nunguest.
Okay.
It's what's the deal again?
What's
the deal again?
These Tigers.
2 million people.
What's the deal?
Bike, paddle.
What's
and
with
hike
grape
state
nuts?
parks last year.
There-
And
no
we
grapes,
invite
no
you to do the
nuts.
same.
Grape nuts?
Every corner of
What's the
Louisiana has
deal?
something to offer. From the world-class fishing at Toledo Bend to paddling at Fontainebleau to exploring the ancient mounds.
Oh, listen, it's your boy.
World Heritage Site. So fill up your car and staycation right here in our home.
Nunguesser.
Louisiana.
Oh,
We
sure is,
broadcast
isn't
to
it?
bring you this, a
The
phenomenon
tourism
from Wendy's
director.
Your
that
boy.
can be described as a
Not
giant
my
junior bacon
boy.
cheeseburger, a delicious anomaly doubling the size and taste of Wendy's iconic junior bacon cheeseburger. Double the bacon, double the cheese, and good heavens, double the...
1 minute.
What's this?
Good heavens, Mr. Yakamoto.
Cheeseburger with nuggets, fries, and a drink for just $5. Run to your nearest Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time. Meal includes small fries and a drink. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Hey, New
Hope the
Orleans,
pumps
this is
work.
Mitch Landrew.
There's
12
your
years
guy.
ago, New Orleans was brought to her knees by the devastation
Mitchell.
of Hurricane Katrina. We all remember it. Our thoughts and our prayers are with those in Texas and Southwest
played
Louisiana
tennis with his
affected by
brother.
Hurricane
Jesuit
Harvey.
grad.
That's why I reactivated the NOLA Pay It Forward Fund in partnership
All right, 30 seconds.
with Foundation. These churches and volunteer organizations show the best of New Orleans. That's why I'm asking all of New Orleanians to pitch in and
This is
help
it, right?
pay it
It's last
forward by
time.
donating today. Those interested in donating to the fund can go online to www.gnof.org. NOLA Pay It Forward.
The Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors, nurses, and other health professionals nationwide. It can be yours too. Now at your local club warehouse and other fine retailers today.
Exergen is caring for your family.
After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280. New Orleans.
Maybe Peter Cetera can be the
Wow.
next coach.
Dave.
He's
I
not.
mean-
No one's making it up to us.
I'm already sad.
I'm in.
You're welcome. Just put that last nail in the coffin.
I mean, yeah.
Wow.
Just keep hacking away with the dull end of the butter knife. I mean, all you're gonna do is just get
I mean,
a
my
brush burn.
my phone screen is already cracked from bashing myself in the head with it.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, Peter Cetera, really?
That's my guy. Come on.
I mean, of course, it is the baseball playoffs, and it is Chicago, so.
That's one thing to look forward to. Yeah,
Hey, can't go to the World Series this year, but
why not?
because I had to replace my air conditioning unit last week, so I can't afford to go.
Well,
I did go.
I don't know
last
if they're gonna get there. Well, hey, just save it for when you have to go to Shreveport or the New Orleans Bowl to watch LSU play.
Save LSU and LSU could have a rematch with Troy in the New Orleans Bowl.
Make it
That
happen.
would be awesome.
That would be epic.
That would be awesome. I wonder who they'd play at quarterback. Maybe a little Narcisse.
I don't know. Maybe they'll bring back Lindsey Scott. I don't know. Get him back from the JUCO. But let's hear what Ed Ogeron has to say. And the soundbite, I titled it for Dave. I think I was just like, I'm had it with this. So I just titled it, "What's the deal again?"
Yeah, we're not playing the same. We're not playing as a team. We're not doing a good job coaching all around. Start with me. We're not the same team that was in the bowl. I think we're more efficient in everything that we did. In bowl practice, the way we called plays, the way we ran plays, the way we played defense. Now we have 5 guys that left out defense that are starting in the NFL right now. I know that's happened to LSU before, but we're missing those guys, and those guys would have made some of the plays that we missed tonight.
Those guys would have made some of the play. Of course, what?
I will say this. Okay, so
when you're like, please come back, you would have made these plays. The fact that you can't rely on the current crop you got, that's against Troy?
All right, at the end of the first hour, I did have kind of a downer moment just to keep everybody level. So here's my level moment for LSU fans.
You're bringing the positive back?
I'm gonna try to have some positive spin. You can't.
This ought to be good. Let me
see an hour on the same. I mean,
let me see what you're gonna
jump
do
off
here.
of a cliff.
Let me see what you're gonna. Let's see this. This ought to be good.
All right, just pretend like for a moment you're a Saints fan, and you're not a media member.
Okay.
Remember how you would have felt 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I would have been bent.
Like you would feel if you're an LSU fan right now about LSU.
It would be a different bent because I don't know if the Saints were going to be good this year. And so it's just because it's the same. This isn't the same. This is a downward turn, and it's something that you didn't see coming. I could see the Saints coming being mediocre 2 weeks ago, and now you don't see LSU being down in the dumps. You go to Mississippi State, you get crushed. You barely beat Syracuse, and then you lose at homecoming. You pay $1 million for Troy to come in and kick your butt.
I agree with you, but here's one thing. I don't think Vegas agrees with you. Andrew Lopez tweets out, I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, I want you to just guess. LSU going to the Swamp. What would you think the line would be?
I have not seen it. Well, I think Vegas,
I know what I would have guessed.
I think Vegas just doesn't have confidence in Florida. I would understand that, too, because I don't think Florida's very good. But I would say, I don't know, Florida -7.
I would have thought that Florida would have been about a 10-point favorite.
Okay.
It's 4.
4.
So
I think
what you're saying is they have a chance.
I think they don't trust who they got at quarterback. I mean, Luke Del Rio's out for the year, and he just came back, and now he's out for the year. And Felipe Franks could make some crazy mistakes. But look, if Troy, their running back can run for 196 yards at LSU on their defense, I'm sure Florida can find a guy who can run for at least 100 yards.
Somewhere in there, and I don't care how bad BYU is. Somewhere in there is the defense that played against BYU that did not allow them to get past midfield. And if Coach O has anything in him, one thing we know that he's good at, well, he's actually a pretty good recruiter, but another thing that he's pretty good at is motivating the troops. Now, why they weren't motivated last week, I have no idea. No, I think he's pretty good at it.
I'm not convinced of that anymore.
We're going to find out this week. Because if he's lost this team, they'll get blown away, and they'll be gone, and you'll never see him again. If he has any chance to get this team back, it'll be done this week, and we'll find out. So I guess, they're not going to any major bowl game. We know that. They're not going to a New Year's Day bowl. They're going to be playing in a crappy bowl if they get to a bowl. But we will find out a lot about this football team this week, and winning is not out of the question. It's not likely, and I wouldn't take the 4 points. I wouldn't touch it probably because I don't know what's going to happen. But we will, if they have any chance to come back and make a decent season out of this year, obviously they're going to come back and play inspired football this week.
We were talking about this team at the beginning of the season. They'll be 5-0 going into Florida.
Yeah.
They're lucky they're 3-2. They should be 2-3. I mean, Syracuse could have beaten them. They could have been 2-3. The fact that they're 3-2, and the fact that we're having to say, if they make
we shouldn't have this discussion, right? And that's the whole ridiculous part of that is we shouldn't be having this discussion, and we shouldn't even be talking. I mean, you don't talk about bowl games in the first week of October anyway, and so the fact that we're wondering if LSU is going to make a bowl says a whole lot. And I will say, we never did this when Les Miles was coach.
No, we never did this. Well,
never talked about whether they would make a bowl game or not.
I guess last year, you still thought they'd win 8-9 games last year, even if he would have stuck around.
No, I'm not saying you're supposed to accept that. I understand we're LSU. We're supposed to always be in contention for a national. So I understand that. I don't necessarily agree.
2 minutes.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand. I can at least understand that.
If you keep going down this road, you're Tennessee, because Tennessee used to be a national powerhouse. Now they're just whatever. And
there's another coach that's going to be available.
Well, he's going to be gone. There's no doubt about that.
So he'll be available.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need. That
Old
guy.
Butch.
No. Go get Lane Kiffin. Can you pry him away?
That's not even a joke.
Can you pry him away?
Don't even joke about that. That's not funny.
Why?
When he was being mentioned last year, I'm like, I'm not kidding. I won't even. I know
So
it's
you'd
my
rather
job.
you'd rather O than
I know
Lane.
it's my job to watch LSU, but I can't watch with that guy on the sideline. I'm not kidding. That guy's. Oh. I feel about him the same way I feel about Jay Cutler.
That's a pretty good comparison. They're in the same.
You guys stink.
They're in the same boat. Worm. They're both
Worms. That's a great word.
I've
because
always
that's not
called
the
it
word
a
that I
worm.
like. You know.
Yes.
You know, something that rhymes with Luke Lelouch.
Oh boy. Something like that.
Something along those lines.
Oh my gosh. So well,
you guys stink.
If you want to hear some happy joy, listen to hour 1 of the show on Sports1280 NOLA.com's iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube page. If you want to listen to hour 2 and scream and complain with us,
40 seconds.
Go right ahead there in hour number 2 again. But hey, Jim, appreciate
Been
you
a pleasure, Mr. Holder.
jumping on, and you may be on the show tomorrow.
Maybe.
We don't know
Maybe
Jeff
not.
Duncan's travel plans.
I know there's a lot of LSU fans that say, get rid of that dumbass.
Well, we're going to
Why do
have...
you think I'm playing this song?
Thank you, Dave.
Get rid of us out of here. Thanks, Dave. Back in the studio. We'll be back here
funny.
for another edition of Dunk and Holder tomorrow. Josh Innes coming up next. I'm sure he'll have some fun things to say about LSU. Should be a good show. So come on back tomorrow here, Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Dunk and Holder.
In Africa, 5-year-old.
All right, Derry.
Gosh, Innes might
walk miles.
He might get an FCC violation.
Oh boy.
But together we can end their
Cursing about this team.